Support for this show and the following message come from Trevitt Hill. Overseeing a cannabis investment can be time-consuming and expensive. Trevitt Hill provides cannabis investors with an external turnaround team to help management reignite growth. For a free confidential review, go to trevitthill.com.
Initially, they think they could just go to Stripe or something like that and set up a merchant account. And when they do that and find out that they've been declined, they're like, oh, now what? I didn't even think that this was going to happen. I thought this was going to be easy. Well, let me do PayPal. And then they find out that PayPal is not going to be able to do that. So then I'm like, well, where do I go?
From Bummin' It Media, it's the MJBulls podcast, a show about raising cannabis capital. I'm Dan Humiston, and on today's show, how processing investors' payments is helping cannabis companies unlock crowdfunding as a way to raise cannabis capital. Today on the Cannabis Investor Spotlight series, we're joined by Edward Corona from the FinTech Group. Ed, thanks for being on the MJBulls podcast.
You bet. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I've been reading through your website, and you created this payment process platform, and it sort of just fell into place when regulations changed in 2012, and you're perfectly positioned for helping companies with their crowdfunding. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. When the Jobs Act came out in 2012, we really carved out quite a niche for ourselves within that industry with our platform.
So for our listeners, really the next step after the friends and family round, a lot of people go right to seed round, but there's a step in between that really could be probably as beneficial and as easy to do as anything, and that is crowdfunding. So maybe you can talk to us a little bit about this phase and how your company provides a solution for this phase.
Yeah, sure. What my company does is what a lot of these issuers are doing when they set up an offering. And the whole reason behind crowdfunding is to go directly to the crowd or directly to the investor. With the offerings that are available right now, you are able to do advertising and reach out to those investors without violating any type of FINRA regulations. So that puts the issuers in a very good position to reach out directly to the crowd and advertise their offering. When the investor goes to their website or wherever they direct them and they want to invest into that company, what our platform does is it allows that investor to easily, at the time that they're viewing the investment, to send the funds over and invest in the company. We do everything in real time. So we have an Invest Now button or a Reserve Shares button, depending on the type of offering, and the investor can do it right there on the spot, streamlined.
Which is amazing because, as my listeners already know this, but for anybody that's new to the show, in cannabis, we can't use PayPal. We can't use a lot of the credit card processing systems that most industries don't struggle with. So this is a real challenge, right?
Absolutely. And that's the market that we identified, and our solution serves that need.
So if somebody wants to make an investment, let's just walk us through the process. I'm an investor, or let's start with the issuer. I'm a company. I'm raising capital. I put the word out through my advertising channels that I'm raising money. Take it from there.
So at that point, when an investor wants to make an investment in that company, they would click on the Invest Now button. The Invest Now button would collect the information that we need, their information, their address, their banking information, where they want to make the payment, and then they would hit Submit. At that point, what my system does is we verify that it's a legitimate bank account through our verification system, and then we process that transaction. So it works very similar to an ACH type of platform, but the main difference between us and an ACH is we have far more verification, and we deposit those funds the following business day into the issuer's business account. There's not a 3 to 5 day delay that you would get in your traditional type of ACH platform. We also offer additional options. They can do it online. The issuer can take the information over the phone, they can do it that way. They can even send an email or text message invoice, and the investor can have their investment that way. So it's very streamlined, and everything's done in real time, so it gets it done much quicker.
I just want to do a quick thank you to one of our former guests, Blaze, which is a cannabis technology company with software for dispensaries, distributors, and coming soon, manufacturers and cultivators. Listen to MJ Bulls episode 33 or go to blaze.me to learn how you can be part of their expansion. And now back to the show. And you mentioned that you do some sort of backgrounding or verification that the accounts are legit or there may be suspect. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, what our verification process does, Dan, is we look at a couple of things. As soon as that person checks out and he clicks on the authorization, we run it through very fast databases that we work with. And what those databases do is, first of all, they verify that it's a legitimate USA bank account. So that's the first part. If it's not, well, then they kick that out. After that's verified, what we do is our database collects positive and negative data on where the funds are coming from, on the bank where the funds are coming from. If there's negative data on that account, we have an alert system which would alert the issuer that we collected that information. And there's about 200 different types of verifications that are in place. What the issuer can do at that point is they can choose to override it if they want to take a chance on that. There's a good chance that those funds will not clear. So if they want to get on the phone or if they want to do further verification on their end, they can do that. Or they can just decline it. If there's positive information on the account, it's streamlined and it goes right through and there's no alerts. It's just deposited the following business day.
Okay. We've been speaking with Ed Corona from the FinTech group, and all of his information, FinTech's email address and Ed's email address and FinTech's website will be on the MJ Bulls website. But this is a great solution for people that are considering doing crowdfunding, or I should say cannabis companies that are considering doing crowdfunding. Because I know a lot of people talk to me about crowdfunding and they don't even know where to begin. They're just like, it's voodoo science. No one even, like, everyone's like, what? I want to do it, but everyone else is doing it, but I don't. I think that you make this, it seems like you make this really simple.
Right. Well, even if you have the money, the whole thing behind crowdfunding right now is marketing. And you can spend a lot of money in marketing that offering, and you'll get it out there. The marketing is out there and it's available. You can raise funds by doing it, but people overlook. They say, well, okay, now that I have this in place, how do I get the money? Do I got to, have these people send a wire to me? I mean, initially they think they could just go to Stripe or something like that and set up a merchant account. And when they do that and find out that they've been declined, they're like, oh, now what? I didn't even think that this was going to happen. I thought this was going to be easy. Well, let me do PayPal. And then they find out that PayPal is not going to be able to do that. So then I'm like, well, where do I go?
Yeah.
Now they start searching and, people find us that way, but mainly they find us through being referred to us through one of the sources.
Well, this show should drive some more attention to it, more eyes to your site. Ed, is there any last words you'd like to leave with our listeners before we sign off?
Well, that sums it up pretty well, Dan. And if they have any questions, just visit my website at fintechmerchantaccounts.com. And we could, there's a lot of information there. And I'm always available if they want to reach out to me by phone or schedule a phone meeting. I'm happy to do that and answer any other questions that they may have.
Sounds good. This is a really, I think, necessary solution to another problem that we have in the cannabis industry. So thanks. So Ed, thanks for being on the show and explaining this to us.
You bet, Dan. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Good luck. Just a quick reminder that you can become an MJ Bulls member for just $4.99 per month and enjoy exclusive access to companies' pitch decks and the MJ Bulls Cannabis Capital Directory. Join today at MJBulls.com. Thanks for listening to the MJ Bulls podcast. To learn more about today's guest or to become a guest, visit our website at MJBulls.com. Today's show was produced by Bumminit Media with original music composed by Jamie Humiston. I'm Dan Humiston, and you've been listening to the MJ Bulls podcast.